package that shows up on your doorstep? Well, behind it is this hidden world of super complex logistics. Today, we're pulling back the curtain to look at the person right at the center of it all, the transportation planner. We're going to follow a day in their life to see exactly how they make all that magic happen. Think about it. You click buy and bam, a few days later, a box just shows up. So simple, right? But behind the scenes, it's this crazy web of decisions, routes, and schedules. It's a massive puzzle, and it all gets started with one person.
So let's meet our guy, John. He's basically the person at the command center, the one making sure that everything from a single pallet to a full truckload gets from point A to point B efficiently, on time, and importantly, on budget. His day is this really cool blend of strategy, problem-solving, and technology.
All right, so how does John's day even start? Well, it begins with a total flood of information. The morning is all about getting a handle on the day's challenges, organizing what can honestly feel like a battlefield of logistics.
Okay, so everything, and I mean everything, starts with this one little piece of data, the freight unit. The easiest way to think about it is like a digital to-do list for a shipment. Each one has all the key details, what's being shipped, where it's from, and where it needs to go. It's the fundamental demand he has to work with. And we're not talking about just a handful of these things. No way. Before John can plan anything, he has to see the whole picture for the day. That means sifting through hundreds, sometimes even thousands of these freight units, and each one is its own little puzzle just waiting to be solved. Now, obviously, he can't just stare at some giant, endless list. That would be impossible. Instead, he uses these custom profiles and layouts right in his software to filter and organize all that chaos. This setup is absolutely crucial. It lets him focus on the most urgent or the most complex shipments first. It's all about creating order before the real planning can even begin.
Okay, so his digital workspace is all set up and organized. Now John gets to dive into the core of his job. This is where he stops just organizing and starts really strategizing, turning that long list of to-dos into actual, efficient transportation plans.
And this, right here, is the million-dollar question. I mean, with all these different shipments, how in the world do you create the best possible plan? Do you send out a dozen little trucks, or is one big one better? Should you go direct or make a few stops along the way? Well, he has a couple of really powerful tools to help him figure it out.
So he's got two main tools in his toolbox. For the really tricky shipments, maybe something huge or going way out to a remote spot, he uses manual planning. This is where his gut feeling and experience really shine. But for the hundreds of standard, everyday shipments, that's when he lets automation do the heavy lifting. The system's algorithm can check out millions of possibilities in seconds to find the best route. His real skill is knowing exactly which tool to use and when.
So it doesn't matter if he's using his own brainpower or letting the system work its magic, the end goal is always the same, to take all those scattered to-do items and consolidate them into one single, solid master plan.
And that master plan has a name. It's called a freight order. This thing is the official blueprint. It's not a to-do anymore. It's a how-to. It can bundle a bunch of different freight units into one single trip, locking in the final route and schedule. This is the document that makes it all real. All right, so now John's got this stack of finalized freight orders. His focus is about to shift. The afternoon is all about execution. It's time to take these perfect digital plans and connect them to the real, physical world of trucks and ships and planes. A plan is just a file on a computer until someone is actually there to drive the truck or pilot the ship, right? So John's next job is to find the absolute perfect partner to carry out his carefully crafted plan. And that partner? In the industry, we call them a carrier. It's just the term for the company that actually owns the assets. The trucks, the planes, the ships, the ones who will physically move the goods from the origin to the destination. But he can't just, pick a name out of a hat. To make sure he's getting the best service at the best possible price, he kicks off this formal competitive process called tendering. It's kind of like a reverse auction, really. John puts the job out there for bids, sending that freight order to a list of pre-approved carriers. They look it over and submit their best price. Then it's back to John to review all the bids, and he's got to weigh the cost against how reliable they are, and then he awards the job. Once the carrier accepts, bam, the shipment is officially booked and it is ready to go.
Okay, so as John's day starts to wind down, let's kind of zoom out for a second. We've seen all the tasks, the reviewing, the planning, the tendering, but what's the real impact of all this work?
Get this, a single planner like John is making hundreds of concrete plans every single day.
But behind each one of those plans are thousands of little micro decisions. When you add all of that up, the daily impact he has on a company's bottom line, their efficiency, and their customer satisfaction, it's huge.
And that really gets us to the key takeaway here. In this age where everything is getting more and more automated, the transportation planner isn't going away. They're actually being empowered. They are that essential human expert, the one who guides the technology, who handles all the weird exceptions, and makes those final strategic calls that a computer just can't.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. We've seen what John does today, right? But the world of logistics is changing so fast. We've got AI, real-time data, new demands for sustainability. The tools are absolutely going to change, but the need for a smart, adaptable human at the center of it all, well, that's probably going to remain the biggest challenge and the greatest asset.
You ever stop and wonder how the stuff